Can you hear it? Welcome to Relay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Relay Station.
Hello. Oh my God, it's Gowron.
No, it's David. He just has a bad hair day this morning.
Oh, okay. That's quite the bad hair day. How did that happen? David, what's going on?
He's
what's
frozen.
going on?
He's frozen in fright.
Oh, no.
Much Gowron about nothing.
Oh, God.
It's already started. This is the minute one of the show, and Shiver has brought the puns out already.
Just
That's pretty much
I
how it
found
goes.
something to cling on to. What?
When Shiver, when you show up to a first date, do you just show up naked? You're just ready? You're just like, take me.
How else do you show up to a date?
That sounds about right.
Here are the goods.
I've been doing it wrong this whole time. I've been doing it wrong this
You've
whole
also
time.
been married for the entire time I've known you.
Oh.
So maybe whatever you've been doing is working. Oh.
I mean, if you're ever going to turn up naked to a date, it should be with your wife.
That's true. That's
Absolutely.
true.
Absolutely. Hello, Fullestan. Hello, Desmarius. Hello, Jake and Shiver. Thanks for joining me this week.
You forgot Tipitarius.
I didn't see.
Just
Oh,
left
there
him.
He's red just like Relay, so I didn't quite notice. And So, hello, Tipitarius.
That's racist.
Oh, dear. It's racist against Relay colors. Yes.
Yes. Welcome, friends, one and all, to the show where we talk about Star Citizen and the things going on with that game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into the show and tell this week. We have some other stuff to talk about later, but I'm going to start with that. So first of all, we have toilet paper.
Yes, toilet paper.
Or more specifically,
now we have a
toilet
use,
paper.
Now we have a use for the toilets.
Throwing toilet paper in them? Not a bad
I do
plan.
like
As a
throwing
silver
jack-o'-lanterns also. Oh, a cherry, very nice. Forgot about the cherry.
And their massive inability to score a basket. That was good.
I mean, his form's all wrong. He's just kind of like hurling it
Yo, totally.
forward. He's not arc. You gotta arc it. You know, like
They need additional throwing animations. Their Tui throwing animations are not enough. However, the actual performance of the throws is better.
yeah. It's pretty great.
So this was this was the existing throw here. Which was okay, but you didn't know where it was gonna go, especially if you aim too low and did an underhand one, and you're like, I didn't mean to do an underhand one, and then it was like 4 feet from you.
And you're like, oh god, explosives are bad.
See, that's the
I like
it's
how
weird.
he's just getting
They have an overhand
annihilated.
throw. One of the things they did talk about is that they were talking about this actually a little bit on the Star Citizen Live too. This isn't done. They're working on it. But the actual interface is much better.
I think the only game I've ever played where I enjoyed the throwing mechanics for things like grenades is Apex. And only barely. Just because it's functional. Only because I know mostly where it's going to land. Also because the only grenade that rolls is the frag grenade. All of the other two don't.
Mm-hmm.
The arc star is a throwing star and it just sticks into whatever you throw it at, and the thermite grenade explodes into thermite.
Yeah.
Just wherever it lands. So
thermite grenades. God.
yeah.
So this is good. They did say that a lot of this came out of Theaters of War testing. I do like the underhand thing. I think that's really nice. Not every game even does that. Some of them you like aim like a few feet in front of you, and it does an overhand throw. It's like
you just spike it to the ground.
Exactly. Yeah, being able to roll grenades is pretty cool. Especially if there's obstructions between you and your foes. So what they're showing here, this section was about changing the lighting from day to night in ArcCorp, which is pretty cool. And then we have this, which I was so excited about.
The difference is night and day, Eric.
These are EVA access hatches in space stations, so you can go in and out of the space stations, you know, with your dude.
Yeah. And they're not just like doors to the landing pad. It's like specifically designed for
EVA, yeah.
Exiting the station.
They're going to be adding defensive turrets onto, it sounds like, pretty much every space station. Not all of them have them right now, like the truck stops. This
I think
will
only the planetary stations have them right now.
No, Port Olisar has them.
Yeah, and like Tressler and the rest of those.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that are like named and like stuck above the planet directly, like geosynchronous with the.
So we're getting
city.
more buildings on moons and planets.
Oh, I like that thick, fat cube. It just looks like the computer from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's just a massive cube.
So these are dwellings. These are going to be like people's house. This is going to be like people's houses. A lot of these, in my mind, draw pretty heavy influence from Star Wars.
Yep, those are some Tatooine buildings right there.
But yeah, I really thought that was pretty cool. Did I just put up like the whole freaking episode or something? What's going on here? Why is it going from clip to clip?
I don't know.
What have I done? What have I done, folks?
I don't know.
Oh, never mind. I know exactly what happened. Okay, we're playing around with a new way of doing video here, and I was not expecting it to work the way it has worked. There we go. Cool. There's like I'm using VLC video source in OBS right now, so I can pause it. But I put all the videos in there, and it just goes from one video to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, all the way through.
There you go.
So, bum. Just a moment here.
I'm just like, where's the jack-o'-lanterns at?
Yeah, right.
They're showing these jack-o'-lanterns.
I guess they're coming with that Halloween, right? It's only in 2 months.
I guess so. I like just this like close-up shot of this man with what's his name, Pico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's just like, you're going to be yeeted.
Pico the Penguin. All right.
Pico de Gallo.
What are your thoughts on the improvements they show here in the throw mechanic? Is it, getting there? It looks like garbage.
Yeah. There's progress that was made.
Yes.
It still looks like garbage, but it like a sweet smelling garbage.
Oh, okay. So we're working our way towards like edible food.
Yeah. How about this? It's cold garbage. It's not hot garbage.
It's not hot garbage.
It's cold garbage.
Got it. Yeah. Honestly, for me, what? Sorry, go ahead, Shiver.
The only thing I worry about is how badly it's going to break when physics grids come in.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it's taking them so long, is they are accommodating for that.
Or they just didn't bother because they're like, it's going to break when physics grids come in. We'll fix it then.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Can't wait to throw a grenade down the hallway of a ship that like expands and contracts. Be like, oh, that didn't work.
Yep.
Just stops in midair.
I mean, the one thing I will throw in. I mean, yes, okay, physics grids might well.
You're throwing it in?
Fork it up. I didn't even realize that. God damn it. It will come with the advantage of once it's in and once it's repaired, things like zero gravity and things like that will be accounted for without extra faffing around, which is going to be a nice effect because as people get used to just throwing a grenade and it landing, and then it just sort of hovers there and you're like, oh yeah, fuck. It's going to be cool.
One thing they talked about that's kind of semi-related to that topic, they did say people were asking if bullet drop is actually in the game right now, and it is in the game. There aren't normally a lot of, like, especially in Star Marine, there normally aren't engagements at far enough distances to even notice. But there will be in Theaters of War, and what they realized when they started messing around with Theaters of War was their bullet drop was way too intense. So they had to sped up the bullets so that the bullet drop was correct. But of course it will react normally to gravity as well. So if you're on a moon with almost no gravity, the bullet drop will be very negligible.
Yeah, like, I guess I never really thought about it. I guess I almost always fight in Star Citizen in 0G.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no, like, perceivable bullet drop.
Hey,
Hedicus
just subscribed for the 35th month in a row.
What's wrong with you, Hedicus? What's going on?
Thank you very much, Hedicus. Next month, you're on 3 years. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, that's a long time. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, moving on from throw. Now that I actually understand how our videos are working. Day-night cycles. So
this is cool.
This is the day-night cycle in ArcCorp. I thought a lot of this is really neat, and it really shows what they've been talking about in the past, where how they can, like, drastically change a single environment just based on, like, lighting and paint colors and stuff. In this case, it's mostly just lighting, but they can take a modular environment and make a whole bunch of different variations of it, which is pretty cool. I love the idea of changing environments night to day for their environmental feel. It will help a lot with the atmosphere in the world. Also, places where you don't know what time of day it is when you're, like, underground or something like that, you can just look around and be like, oh shit, it's night.
Yeah, I was wondered how that would work. Like our corp's not even as dense as Coruscant would be, but is there just, like, a depth where, like, the sun just won't appear at all?
Yeah, for sure.
Like Coruscant can get to that level for sure. There's some stories of people who lived far down enough who have never seen the sun in their life. But I don't think our corpse that.
No, I don't think it's that dense.
That dense.
They're actually
Coruscant,
saying. Go ahead.
Well, our corp is about 1,000 years too early.
Yeah.
Coruscant is a city built on top of a city. So there's the whole bottom of it is just the old part of Coruscant. Yeah.
I just realized I didn't change the title this week. It's kind of annoying. Anyway.
Oh, whatever.
So this brings up another question for me. The lighting in here is pretty good. Obviously, it's not perfect. How much better do you think this would look with something like ray tracing?
I mean,
it wouldn't. The way that as I understand it, and I'm perfectly open to being corrected, because that's fine. I get things wrong. But as I understand it, they're basically doing lighting the old-fashioned way, and ray tracing would just basically allow them to just skip sitting there coding it the way that they've coded it, because the way that they've actually got the light working is beaming out in rays and then reflecting or being stopped by certain objects, which is
I think
basically
that
what
can
ray
only
tracing
be
is to a degree. But
I
I'm
think that
willing
can
to
only
be
be
wrong and
accomplished by
corrected.
ray tracing. At least that was.
And don't forget as well that if they were using ray tracing, it's going to be a massive performance hit. Whereas if they're doing it this, more traditional way, it's not going to incur the same performance hit.
Yeah, I think we've yet to really see ray trace lighting in a multiplayer environment as well.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Murder GPUs.
So yeah, it's a little interesting. I'm not entirely sure.
I think that's going to change pretty quickly though, especially if the Ampere cards are what we think they are. If they're totally offloading all the ray tracing onto a separate chip and it doesn't slow them down.
I don't think they can physically. I don't think that's actually possible, though, is it? Doesn't that break the laws of physics?
I don't think it breaks the laws of physics, but we haven't seen their presentation yet.
It doesn't literally break the laws of physics, but I don't think they're able to offload the ray tracing part onto a traversal coprocessor. I didn't think that was actually physically possible for them to do.
I don't think they have a separate processor for it, but there might be dedicated cores for it.
I thought they already had
on the same processor.
Cores. I thought they already had dedicated cores on the RTX existing
they do.
RTX cards.
Yeah. So
they may just be beefing that up a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
Moving right along. So, what do we have next here? Yes, this is something I want to talk about a little bit more, but it's a short clip, so I didn't get to. So, EVA, they are talking more about this, which I find very interesting. So they're talking about, EVAing into stations and out of stations. This sounds like they're thinking about things like stations that are disabled, bounty missions where you want to sneak in, those types of things. I think this is probably work that originated in First Squadron. That's my spider sense. But I definitely think it would be, you could definitely make a lot of missions out of it in the persistent universe as well. This space station's offline. This truck stop's offline. You have to EVA in to go and fix it.
It's like a maintenance hatch.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I mean, even right down to salvage with a space station that's been disabled that has no power. You've got to figure out how to get in to salvage the crap out of it. Yeah.
Because if you think about it,
literally,
it's a little strange that all of the airlocks on literally everything right now are attached to landing pads or hangars in some way. It's odd. So having something dedicated like that makes a whole lot of sense. It looks really nice. I like all of these iterations. I would be happy with any of them.
I do find the character's pose a little weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
He looks very sad.
He's very dejected about his life.
So, once again, we have turrets that are being added to all of the space stations. This is in aid of getting rid of green zones eventually, once the Law & Order system works properly. You look like you have a question, Shiver.
I do. It's a horrible question, but I'm sorry, but I'm going to go for it. How are you going to distinct pod rammers?
Yeah, I know, it's hard. You might just get blown up if you don't know how to fly your ship.
I mean, it's just the nature of the very thing, because how you can't tell someone's going to be a power rammer until after they've actually done the deed, and by that point, it's too fucking late.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not part of the team that has to worry about.
Yeah. I wonder if they have some kind of intelligence that detects velocity.
That's what I was wondering too.
Because there's a certain point where the game could know that they would be unable to stop in time, but they could shoot them in time.
Yeah, that's certainly possible.
Yeah.
But I did think this was interesting. Getting rid of green zones. I know they've wanted to do that for a long time, but they need the game to work properly because people just can't go around slaughtering everybody without any, any response. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So both the internal security as well as the external security have to work properly, and yeah. So this is another step in that direction. I think making turrets in games would be cool. That's just my thought.
I'm also like it's gonna, because they're getting rid of the green zones, they'll be able to add like all the subterfuge gameplay that they've been talking about for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, that's very much needed.
They also mentioned in Star Citizen Live this week that one of the reasons they haven't been able to add a firing range into the game, into any of the landing zones, is because of the green zones. Because you can't have a weapon.
So yeah. They could add that to like weapon shops so you can test out the guns before you buy them. That'd be nice.
Exactly. That's the hope, is to build them into weapon shops.
Awesome.
So try before you buy type of deal.
Cool. And it just locks you in while you are holding the gun. Things like that. Have to put it down.
Either that, or there's like a turret that like sits above you, and if you turn away from the firing range, it's like bam.
Yeah.
There was this documentary I once saw about this guy who went into a gun shop, and he wanted a pulse rifle in the 40-watt range. He ended up just shooting the owner of the store and taking whatever he wanted.
There's a
How are they
documentary.
going to stop us doing that? Yeah, I think it was something like, have you seen this woman? But yeah, how are they going to stop players doing exactly that?
They won't be able to stop them from trying. That'll be up to the internal security at each place.
Be able to stop them by shooting them in the dang head.
I mean, they don't really do much right now, but you can see the security at most of the landing zones, and they're usually like armored and armed to the nines. All right.
I love it when it glitches and they're all just on edge for some reason. Like every single guard is sitting there like this, but they're not doing anything. They're just standing there, just like, and they're ready to go, but they got nothing to do.
They're just threatening. All right, back to our
bots
back to
broken. Bots broken. Bryce Arena.
Yeah, sorry. I need to thank you for reminding me to talk to David about
that. Well, it's because it's local. That's why.
I know. I should talk to him and see if I can figure out a way to run it as well from my computer.
I wonder if there's a cloud version of the bot.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
So, we're actually
Tabs
starting.
are cool
We're actually
in
going to
Night
start
Skybot.
getting people's houses and homesteads and such on planets and moons, and a lot of them look very much like Star Wars. And I like it's actually hard for me because they mentioned like a lot of these are concepts and won't make it, and I like most of them.
Yeah, I also like most of them.
Do you have any favorites here, Shiver?
One from the start to the very end.
I like that one, the big cube. That's what I was talking about.
I mean,
Cubey boy?
this is the thing, is well, we can't decide. They certainly can't decide. Chris Roberts is going to look at those and so you're putting them all in, right?
Exactly. Oh,
They basically, with Star Citizen, it's not a matter of what do we put in. The question is, what do we put in first?
Totally.
And
oh yeah.
yeah.
I'm really excited to see this, though. I mean, outposts are already really good. Having more things like this will just make everything feel more real, I think. I'm curious to see what kind of gameplay they have in mind for homesteads. I'm sure there will be farming stuff that is related to them, since we do have farming coming in the future.
I really just want storage. That's really the main thing that I want. Just like because they already have.
You want to have your cube filled with spice?
Yeah. Yes. No. I'm not Dolvac. No. Like I mean, like the Takuetsu models and all the bits and bobs that you find around the universe. And you need a place to put them that's not your ship or your hangar. So.
And somewhere to stash all of your widow. Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I just want to be able to kill, burn the people who are in there, and then have the person who was outside of it just suddenly come back and realize that his uncle and his auntie are just lying there, burned to a
no!
Where's that from? Where is that from, Shiver?
Oh, it was an old war documentary from a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
When you start tracking them, you'll notice that the tracks are side by side, not single file to hide their numbers.
So we have gigantic rock formations. They mentioned specifically in this episode the textures are not final, but this is an exploration for some of the worlds coming up and also in Pyro. I think I know specifically what they're talking about here. So this
Do you know what these are? They're tow hitches.
Oh, okay.
You just get a big metal hook, you tie it to the back of a bangle, you tow that planet wherever you need it to go. Foolproof plan. Listen, we've all seen Star Trek. Tractor beams don't work. Tractor beams don't work.
They do sometimes.
No.
Not when you need them to.
Not to pull planets. Q tested this, remember?
Yes, good point. So I think this is tied in with there was a cool AMA this week. I'm not sure if you guys read it yet.
Yeah, I checked it out.
And it is basically it was an AMA with for anybody who doesn't know what that means, an Ask Me Anything with the environment team. One of the things they talked about in here is that Pyro originally was supposed to have a lava planet. They do not have anything flowing currently in the game, so they had to change this planet somewhat. So they don't have...
must have a lava planet.
They don't have flowing lava and they don't have flowing water yet, so they decided to, at least for the time being, go with cooled lava. So they'll have the black, oozy, rock features. And I have a sneaking suspicion that these giant rock formations are probably for that planet. They look a lot like volcanic formations, to me anyway. And yeah, so one of the things they talked about is that they, once they get flowing lava and flowing water, specifically flowing lava in the game, they'll either go back and redo Pyro 3, which is the planet that is a lava planet, or they'll just, stick with the existing change to the lore for that planet, and they'll make a different lava planet elsewhere.
Shiver, you put the lava planet from Star Wars in the chat. But you spelled it the way that Palpatine says it, which is Mustafa. It's Mustafar, which is
Mustafa lava planet.
We'll go.
You've got to have these tall rocks for the lava planet, right?
Yeah.
So someone can have the high ground.
You'll go find the separatist leaders at Mustafa. Do it.
So the AMA is actually quite long. I want to touch on a few things out of it, but I would also recommend everyone go read it. It's interesting. One of the things that blew my mind was one of the things they talked about in here. I've been doing a fair amount of mining lately, and apparently they already have added. Someone asked if you could have, when you're mining right now, there are multiple levels of things you can mine. So there's like bigger rocks that only the prospector can mine, or the Argo, not the Argo, the mole. Sorry. And then there's things that only the ground mining vehicle, the rock, can mine. And then there's the small like gem like things that only the hand mining tool can mine. And someone is asking, could you have like big rocks with the small like vehicle mining things on top of them, and then have like the little gems stuck to the side of those as well? And apparently some of that already is already happening in the game, and I have not seen that, so I've got to keep an eye out for it.
Fancy. Apparently,
some of the larger mineable rocks do have like the little hand minables on the surface, and you have to, if you want to get full value for that spot, you have to actually get out, mine the thing by hand, and then mine the larger rock.
Oh, interesting.
Which is kind of interesting and cool. But yeah, so I'm going to go into a couple videos now that were from Reddit this week. One of them is a bug, and the other one is just awesome. So we're going to start with the awesome one first. It is landing in a snowstorm, and I've done a little bit of this in the game, and it looks so good. And it's also really hard.
Yeah.
It's like every 5 to 10 seconds you get a quick glimpse of what you're trying to land on.
Yeah. That looks like driving through a snowstorm.
It does. By the way, driving through a snowstorm is a freaking nightmare.
It's a bad time. It is a bad time.
One of the first things I found when the snow was added to the game was how good it looks around vehicles on the surface and in flying around. It looks great.
Yeah. Yep.
And like the frosting on your visor and stuff looks awesome too. They're doing a good job with the weather effects so far. And that clip, if I could actually bring it up here. That clip was brought to us by Mac Elliott on Reddit. Thank you very much. And the next one is from Atlantic JCX on Reddit, and I called it Taking the Train. It's a fun little bug. Well,
oh, no.
Fairly large bug.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh. For those listening to this, oh God, no! For those listening to this, they took a Merlin or Archimedes or one of those into the train, and the train just dragged them halfway through the tunnel.
And after smashing into like 1,000 things and finally getting dropped off by the train, they died.
It just
falls apart.
Explodes, yeah. Oh my God. That is amazing.
Fun bugs. See, this is why you need testers in the game early, because no one in their right mind would ever try and do this. So you get those testers who aren't in their right mind. It's perfect.
On a related note as well, with the scale that they're doing so far as well, there's no way that they could have enough testers to actually think of, what if someone does this with a ship on a train?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing. I just love it. They do need to do so. I mean, it's I think a problem that's existed for a long time, but they do need to do something about the glitching through a planet thing that happens. I was reminded of it by just being able to see through the planet there at one point in this clip.
Yeah, it might even just be because they're underneath the mountain.
Yeah. Totally. But I was mining last week, and I jumped out of my ship to go mine a hand mineable thing, and I just fell through the planet. It's like, damn it.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Good times. So I'm going to try now. Let's see if I can do this. Wish me luck. I'm going to try and display the environment art AMA on the screen here. Originally, I actually thought that we had the update from the roadmap to talk about this week as well, but I think that was last week. Because
that was yesterday.
No. The update to the Squadron 42 roadmap that they did.
I thought that was yesterday.
I don't think it was yesterday. I think we covered it last show.
Oh.
If I'm wrong about that, please let me know. But I think we covered it last show.
Tell us in the chat. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think it. Well, you weren't here for it.
Yeah. I watched the show though. I always watch the show.
I don't remember what happened because it's not even 6 in the morning yet.
Yeah, I don't really blame you in the slightest, Shiver.
It was posted on the 19th, so you didn't.
No? Wow. My brain apparently is not working. All right. So that is something we need to talk about. That's good because I thought we were going to talk about that, and then I'm like, oh, we already talked about it. And yeah, no, you're right. It was only 3 days ago. We're good. So
yeah,
they did it. They did the thing that we were asking them to do. They actually did the first part of the roadmap update, which was give us an idea of what it's going to look like and when it's coming and that kind of stuff. That is another thing I could actually try and display on screen. Let's give that a shot here. Trying to do a browser capture.
Fancy.
Browser capture. There we go. Oh wait, that's not what I wanted. No. I don't want OBS's browser. That's garbage.
Oh no.
Let's go window capture. There we go. And it should be Firefox.
Oh
right.
God.
Don't worry, I'm gonna fix it.
There we go.
All right.
Ah, I see.
There we go.
We're doing it live.
Doing it live, folks. So this is the environment art one. Let's go to the roadmap. Here it is. I can't actually see OBS right now. Is this looking okay?
Yeah.
All right. So they went and talked through like what the limitations are with the current roadmap. How you really can't see what teams are doing at any given moment. It's a very high level, like one task has been completed this week from someone, that type of thing. And also it doesn't allow them to show the work that's being done on things that aren't coming out soon. Because there's a lot of stuff that people are working on that isn't coming out for like a year or more,
Mm-hmm.
That was actually something they talked about with they in Star Citizen Live this week. They talked about how eventually your armor, your armor will act more like a ship in that it will have like a power supply in different systems and such, and so that your power supply in your suit can actually recharge your energy weapons, which is and also will be affected by EMPs and so on. But they're like that they were saying that work is like way out in the future.
Yeah. It's it's just one of those things where it's like Dolvac actually reminded me of this. Remember way back when we were asking for just any roadmap at all for a long time?
Yep.
And then they gave us that huge Jira dump. Do you remember that?
I think so, but it was a very long time ago.
So one of the cool things, so Tipitarius remembers it. So one of the really cool things about that was there weren't really any dates on it. More so like seeing what they're prioritizing and some of the things that were interdependent. And Tipitaris, you had mentioned this a little bit in the Discord, and I'm 100% with you on this. One of the things that we as the audience would love to know is if something is delayed because of something else. Mm-hmm. It would be nice to know what that thing is. It's like, oh, this got pushed out of this patch because it needs this other tech to come online, and we don't really get that, at least not in a visual sense. Sometimes they mention it. Mm-hmm.
In the roadmap.
Sometimes
update.
they mention it in the roundup, but not always. And all they really do is in the roundups is say what was finished. Mm-hmm. Like what work they finished. Like they basically show the numbers right on the roadmap, like, oh, these tasks were completed, and the roundup says what those tasks are. And I wish that it was more than that, like just something more comprehensive. Plus being able to see the sprints as well and kind of what they're working on is huge. So I think this is a massive step in the right direction, mm-hmm. but I think there's a long way that they need to go.
That's fair. One thing they did say with this, so moving back over to the actual document here.
It's like, so think of it this way. It's like, oh, we can't, the Hull A is almost done, or like the Hull C is almost done, but it depends on this particular version of cargo tech that's not done yet because of the spindly arm things. Like all we ever see is that it gets pushed and nothing else.
Yeah, that was and it took forever for us to actually fully know why the Hull C was pushed back. They eventually mentioned it, I think, at like CitizenCon or something. Why it was actually not around. They're like, oh, the ship's basically done, which just doesn't work in the game.
Yeah.
So what they were talking about here is that this sprint view is what they're working on for like the first like iteration of putting it out, because they want to have something out that isn't what we currently see. And then they're saying that they would like to include additional functionality later to go even deeper. So hopefully that will include those interdependencies that we're always wondering about.
Yeah. Hopefully.
But I thought this was a good update, and I do really like this sprint view, like compared to what we're currently seeing.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
I do also like that they are going to keep the existing view as well, so you can still see what's coming in each patch. You know what I mean? This sprint view doesn't tell you that. It just tells you what the teams are working on.
You know, man, I've been saying this for literal years at this point on this very show. Like, the next patch is all well and good, right? I want to know, like, the overall status of the project. And they keep telling us over and over again, like, oh, things are going great. Everything's great. And we just say, like, okay, show us somehow that it is great.
Yeah.
Tell us what your progress reports are. Like, we want to know what those things are. Like, and I get their stance, like, oh, we want to show and not tell. Well, clearly you can't show everything, but you have to let us know that the project is progressing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somehow.
Absolutely. Yeah,
so whatever that is, it has to be done.
I am looking forward to one of the things I actually thought about right away is this sprint view will actually give us a lot more to talk about too on this show. Which is nice.
Good Lord, yes.
There will be a lot more. Well, already you can see like this is one team, right? And what they're working on. It tells you which games it applies to. It tells you when you open it up, it tells you all the different like people working on it. So animation, UI, engineering. Yeah, it's great. I
Yeah.
can't wait. Hopefully it's out sooner rather than later. I hope it's not one of those things that drags on for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, thumbs up.
For sure.
Bum, 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 bum. So then the other thing I wanted to talk about was the AMA this week, which is right here.
Yeah, and Tibetari and I'm not saying that this is what you're saying. I'm saying that we don't even need dates. Like, I don't care about dates. I just want to see progress. I want to see the ticker going up of things that are finished.
Well, and I would like to see something, like some indication about where things like server meshing are and what's being worked on right now.
Yeah, just the general progress of it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to say, "Oh, we're gonna have it done by this date." Like, obviously, you don't know that.
Like, are we 3% of the way to server meshing?
Yeah.
44% of the way to server meshing.
So, CIG, again, CIG, you're not listening to this, but if you are,
you never know.
You never know. If you are listening to this, it's not about knowing when it's going to happen. So think of it like when you're downloading a Steam game or you're updating Windows. It's nice to know the percentage that it is complete. We know that the time estimated by the software installation is hot garbage. We know. Just tell us how close you are. It's like you got to give us the benefit of the doubt also. If you want us to give you the benefit of the doubt, you got to give us the benefit of the doubt. You have to, like, people are going to be mad no matter what you do. So you might as well appease the people who just want to know these things. Either way, like, less information is worse. So, yeah. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I'm looking through this. I think a lot of this is pretty boring podcast content. This AMA is really good. I recommend
very
going
technical.
to read it. It's also long, as you can see. There's a lot of information here. But this team is also probably one of the most talented teams that they have.
Yeah.
Their planet builders are and environment art folks are amazing. So go check that out. And all right. Let's finally switch back over to our show here, and also Gowron's beautiful, huge face there. I mean, David's
his beautiful face.
So, do we have any questions? Does anybody have a question? Do we have any questions yet?
We can post the link. We just can't use the bot to post the link.
Yeah, exactly. Have we posted the link? That's a good question. No,
I have not, as I don't have the link.
I should probably post the link then. Everyone's like, we would ask questions, but we
would love to ask questions. I'm sure that's what they're saying right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very curious to see what the Squadron 42 roadmap shows when we get it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I'm completely in the dark with that game, like a lot of people are. I don't know where it's at.
Like we all are.
Space is pretty dark.
Shiver, I'm so glad you're on the show. It'd be so boring without you.
Could have gone either way.
That's Canadian for fuck off.
It is not. It is not. It is not. So, questions. There's the link there to ask questions. Please ask questions. We would love to answer them. I have a question for you both, and it's a question we ask a lot, but I'm curious. So now that we have gotten the Talon, what do you think is the next ship up? Next ship up on the line?
Some kind of alien cargo ship.
Like the Merchantman, but different?
Yeah. Like a Xi'an. Like, something that
Ooh.
is not combat from another alien manufacturer.
Did you guys know that there were some early concepts of Shion cargo ships? They existed.
Yes, they're vertical.
They are vertical. They're like, they remind me of just a little bit of the like floating cities in Firefly.
They remind me of ships in Homeworld.
Yeah, it's another good one. Dan Gronlund asks, I came in late. Could you recap this podcast in 1 minute? Absolutely. Things are pretty. Roadmap.
Hopefully
AMA.
pretty soon. AMA. Throwing things.
We've thrown Shiver a bone.
At my age, you get anyone you can.
No. No.
Yeah. So, what was I gonna? Oh, right. Shiver, what do you think is the next ship up?
I was not sure until Jake said, alien, and it's like, actually, by Jove, the man's onto something. Yeah, I think they are pushing.
I do that sometimes, Shiver.
But it's more exotic, isn't it? At this point, they need to start pushing what the teams can actually do and start thinking about, well, we've got all these alien species. We need to start thinking that let's flesh them out. I mean, maybe more Banu stuff next, because Banu Merchantman is probably being worked on at this point.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Surely?
I think my recollection is the team that worked on the Carrack. As soon as they finished the Carrack, we're moving on to the Merchantman. The Merchantman is a beast, though. It's huge. It's the first large Banu ship they're making, and it also has shops inside of it. So,
yeah.
Question mark.
Well, they want to get that tech sorted too, because the Kraken can do that also.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, I do love that they introduced that tech with the idea of that tech with the Merchantman, and they didn't just throw it away on one ship. They're like, no, we're gonna make other ships that can do that as well, since we are making it.
That's CIG's whole thing, is they make everything systemic. So
yeah, I like that though. I like the modular thing too, where they started experimenting with modular stuff, and they're like, well, actually, this makes things easier. If we made everything modular, it'd be better.
Yeah.
I do like that in that AMA, they're like, someone was like, hey, can we get carnivorous plants? And they're like, well, we don't have them, but if we got the animation team and also programmed the plants to be aware of players nearby, sure. Seems like they're up for anything. Nearly. All right. We have one question. More question that's already been asked. More questions would be great. Click on the questions.
Mm-hmm. What is that? What question did they already ask?
Oh, no, that I already asked us. Recap this podcast in 1 minute.
Oh. Ask questions.
Tipitarius asks, how do you feel about Star Citizen's FPS combat, other than the broken throw mechanic, of course? Personally, I think the movement has come a long way, but something still feels slightly janky. Yes.
Yeah. I think the jank is mostly from it's mostly from stuff like the fact that everything is physically based. So, like, when you play an FPS game, there's a lot of shortcuts they take to make the movement feel good, and CIG does not take those shortcuts.
Yeah. When they committed to a unified third and first person character, it does make all of those shortcuts hard. Well, basically impossible. So you have to do them for real.
Yeah.
And the hard part of that is that because nobody else does it that way, you have to come up with how to do it on your own.
Yep.
And a lot of game development is, has anyone ever done this before? Yes, they have. I'm going to copy what they did. So, you know.
Yep.
I like the pacing of it. I like it, considering the origin of this game. It doesn't it doesn't play like that game. It might just be me, but when I played that game, it felt loose. It didn't feel like it. I felt very much like floaty camera, whereas other FPSs are a lot tighter. You do feel like you've got this person that you're in charge with, and there's just the right amount of clunk to it to make you feel like you're this person. And Star Citizen has done that. You do feel like you've got a nice bit of clunk to it. In some way, yeah, you feel like you are not a floating camera, especially in SC, you're not. Whereas Armor, where you're not a floating camera either, that feels too much the other way. That feels too clunky.
Too physicalized, like yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Like you're trying to move your character through a sea of molasses.
Part of the problem with that one too was that it was very physicalized and very buggy at the same time. So you'd often like everything is physicalized, and your character would like get caught on doorways trying to go through them and stuff like that. And I specifically remember that, and it felt very jarring whenever something happened like that. I guess because it was supposed to feel so physicalized. But another thing I would recommend everybody occasionally, if they're playing Star Citizen, go and play the single player for a little bit. Or you know what I mean? Because the game
offline mode.
Yes, offline mode. That's what I mean. Because I mean, hopefully, cross fingers, eventually the persistent universe will feel a lot more like that, because when it's not on a server, it feels a lot better.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, you can experience this if you ever manage to be the only person in a server. It feels great. Dan Gronland asks, has the SCL had some talk about damage to materials with destructible things based on materials? Do you think this will be applied to our ships too? Shiver.
Yes, in short. Maybe not quite the same extent, but they definitely want it so your ship can break apart, your ship has physicalized damage, and that's also fucking insane and completely nuts. As any other game would do it, they literally just change a texture because it's easier, it's quicker, it saves on resources, it saves on time, it saves on your PC's resources having to not render where whatever this impact happened and then change the texture apparently. Some other things like space engineers can get away with what's that tech called where deformation? The actual block changes depending into the impact. I think space engineers is the only other one I've actually seen.
Oh, the soft body physics? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. I know Star Citizen are going for that exact same thing.
They would love to do it if they can ever get it to actually run properly. It's extremely taxing. So,
and that's where the physics grids come into things, because the physics grids are like the Russian doll of it. You only have to render that within the small physics grid that you see, and then on the outside you can just have a texture that's sending the information through, and it doesn't have to be rendered in real time in the same way, if that makes sense. It just sends the information over and says, render it like this. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's funny because they went away from that for quite a while, and then recently they mentioned again that they would like to try and do it. It's not easy. That's why they haven't done it yet. And a lot of games don't even bother trying because it's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard to get it to... It's not hard to do it. It's hard to get it to run in real time without it just ripping itself apart. You know, and I'm not talking about the ship. I'm talking about the game engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in multiplayer too.
Yeah, exactly. If you have multiple ships colliding simultaneously,
you're literally changing a texture in the game itself in real time, and it's not like an editor like Photoshop, which is actually built to do that and respond.
Yeah.
This is a game engine.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
So same question to you, Jake. Question was, SCL had some talk about with damage to materials. Do you think this will be applied to our ships?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things that they've kind of touted for forever is having damage states for different textures and stuff like that, like burning holes through your hull and things like that. They'll find a way to do it, whether it's soft body physics or some other way, sure, but that's one of the things that Chris Roberts wants more than anything is like damage that you do to a ship should be visible.
Yeah, and persistent as well. Like if your ship is damaged, you have to go get it fixed. That's and it has to actually be consistent with the world. So if your ship is damaged, it has to fly different.
He wants them to function like real world cars, where you're actually like you see a symptom of what a problem is, and it might be directly related. It might just be like something that's appeared, like my ship's making a weird noise.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Go to your ship mechanic.
Yeah.
It makes a weird noise.
Or it's like, my ship veers a little to the right. Oh, that's actually just because you have a hole in your ship. Like things like that that's one of the things that CIG has wanted to do for a long time. So absolutely. Absolutely.
I can't remember which show it was or which dev said it, but they want you to be able to get out of your ship after a battle, look at it, and go, "Fuck, that nearly hit me in the face."
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. One of the things that they touched on that I thought was really interesting in Star Citizen Live was they also the fire thing that they're doing right now that we've seen repeatedly with several different episodes. With fire propagation and so on in environments. They are also planning to do that with other things. They call it the hazard system. So, for example, like a plasma rifle, if you shoot it into the floor, could leave like melting, destroying metal there.
Mm-hmm.
And similar things. So, weapons with certain effects can actually leave hazards in the environment. They're also Jared was also begging them to make a flamethrower, which apparently has not been thought of yet, or not like actually taped out yet as something they're going to do. But that would be that'd be fun. Since we now have our fire propagation system being worked on heavily. Is it just me, or do you guys also think that the fire propagation system probably came about because of something they need for Squadron?
Yeah.
I have a sneaky suspicion
I'm
going to be running out of a ship that's burning down around me.
Oh, great.
All right. Tipitarius asks, also known as Tip, apparently.
Just Tip.
Just the tip. Did anyone ever engage with the racing? Currently, it's broken thanks to the flight model, which they've said they plan to work on, but back when it worked, there was something zen about it.
Ooh.
Have any of you ever raced in the game? This is mostly in
Arena Commander or in the
I think they're talking about Arena Commander.
Yes, many times. I also find it oddly relaxing.
It's also very hard, or at least it used to be very hard.
I had an M50 for a long time, and it was just a joy to fly around Arena Commander races. Loved every second.
I really hope they get that fixed. And it makes a lot of sense, when they change to the flight model, it's obviously going to have a huge effect on racing. But
and we're gonna have Grimhex for racetracks and stuff. So.
Yep. Yeah, those will be very civilized races, I'm sure.
Oh, death races sounds so fun. Oh my god. Oh my god, that sounds so fun. I want them to put a mode in Arena Commander where it doesn't take you out of the race if you die. You just get set back a while. Like, literally, like Mario Kart rules is what I'm saying. Oh, that'd be so much fun. I want that so bad.
Tipitarius asks, recently Elite Dangerous announced Space Legs. However, as details have come out, like no ability to explore your own ship or spacewalk and removing VR, the community seems to consider it another dud. Do you think Star Citizen would benefit from having a real competitor? Because right now, I don't think it really has one.
Yeah, I would say the real competitor that is currently being worked on right now, as at least in concept, is Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Isn't? No, I thought it was 3. No, that's 2. It's 2. Never mind. Brain is not working.
What stage of development that thing is in, nobody really knows. So
that's fair.
Because they're doing it because Ubisoft wants another engine to replace Snowdrop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they Michel justified making that game. He's like, I'll make you a new engine if you let me make another Beyond Good and Evil game.
Now, do you know? Here's a trivia question. Do you know what that engine is called?
No.
Shiver, any thoughts? Or
Beyond
puns?
Good and Evil engine.
No.
The new one, yeah.
It is called the Voyager engine.
Whoa.
It's a good name for it.
That is a good name.
And yeah, we really don't know. We know that the game's being made. We have like no update on it recently. It is very similar in, at least from what we've heard, it sounds like it's very similar in scope and scale to Star Citizen, which is like just
I think and it's going to be a single player game, so there's that.
It will be both, actually.
It'll be both. It's not going to be like full MMO like Star Citizen is.
No, it's not an MMO.
It's going to be more. Think of it like a Dark Souls almost, where players can affect the world in certain ways and pop in and out, but it's your world at the end of the day. Which is cool. Like that, I love that design. I'm not faulting it for that.
Do you think that pushes Star Citizen though in the same way that a more public competitor would?
The thing is, I mean, Star Citizen isn't even out yet. And
yeah.
Your competition can drive innovation, no problem. The problem with Star Citizen not even being out is if some new kid on the block comes in and promises, oh yeah, we'll do Star Citizen, but we're going to put bells and whistles on it as well. God knows what bells and whistles.
What the hell could you anyway?
It's basically like everything. We'll have everything. But yeah, then it's gonna. You know what Chris Roberts is like? It's gonna be like fucking releasing until we've at least got the exact same thing here. And you're like, oh no.
Yeah, because one of the major what's plural of impetus?
Impeti? I don't know.
Impeti.
Impetuses.
Motivations?
Yeah, one of the motivations for the animations being the way they are is Uncharted 4, and Chris Roberts has said that many, 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 many times. The fact that they're trying to come anywhere close to the character animations of the literal dark wizards over at Naughty Dog is quite the ask, but sure. Go for it, Chris. We'll see what happens there.
Oh man. Thank you for the questions, Tipitarius. They're great, actually. And Elite Dangerous has been like this for a long time, where
it
has always been. There's lots of things you can say about Star Citizen, but Elite Dangerous has always felt like kind of an empty shell of a game when I've played it. I mean, yeah, it's got a universe and such, but it's very, I don't know, it doesn't feel very alive.
It's
And
very just switch your brain off game, really.
yeah, I played it for like 8 hours, and I was literally like, that was kind of okay, but I don't want to play this anymore. You know?
Yeah.
So, please ask more questions because we are on our last question. We have about 20 minutes left in the show here. Velocifer asks, if CIG becomes big enough and starts publishing games, should they have their own market on mobile devices?
I don't think that'll ever happen. Because no, that'll never happen.
No, you're going hard. No. Do you think
No.
I'm going to cut that question down.
I don't think Star Citizen will be popular enough for them to make that level of money.
Do you ever think they will be big enough to become a publisher?
No.
No? Okay.
No. And even if they did, I don't think that's what they would do with that money.
You could literally turn around and say, you spent so long fighting the thing you hate, you became the thing you hate the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think that, well, there are good publishers out there, and there are publishers that do an excellent job of helping their developers rather than being giant dicks to them. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not inside these companies, but Devolver seems to do an amazing job of promoting the games that they publish. And, I think, anyway, my whole thought was that I think that there are good publishers out there, but I don't think CIG is ever going to become one. I think they have way too many things they want to do to ever refocus their attention on being a publisher. There are probably 6 or so single-player games that they want to make, and they're only making the first one right now. I mean, so...
It's entirely possible that a publisher is quite fair but gets a bad reputation, but then does something really bad, like fire the writer of a game that's working on a sequel that he's been working on for 5 years without warning or anything like that. And then, it just makes you think they're not such a good publisher. Maybe
that sounds familiar.
Too.
Maybe we'll talk about that on the Tuesday show. Yeah, good lord. That whole situation's a mess.
Oh, no.
They handled it badly as well, and now there are all these shit tons of rumors coming out that saying, well, Paradox have hired this guy to do microtransactions. It's like, well, Paradox don't do microtransactions in the fucking game. Why would they suddenly do it in this one? But that's the rumor that's taking off. And it's like, really?
It's so weird, really? Yeah.
And you can literally buy a season pass for it right now, and even if they did do microtransactions, you get everything now. So it's like, well, that's their plan scuppered before they've started. Anyway, sorry, like you say, Tuesday's show for that. I'm sure they will cover it better than I ever will, because I'm biased. Because fuck what they did, Brian Mitsoda.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see how that whole thing shakes out, for sure.
Tipitarius asks, he's now moved back to Tipitarius from Tip. Apparently that was too traumatic. If you could have anything, what ship skin would you want? And what ship would you want it for? Conversely, what ship would you want if you could have it, and what would it look like?
My real answer is I just want to be able to paint all of my ships whatever I want. My fake answer is let me turn the Polaris into a mini Star Destroyer.
Okay.
Like a very small Star Destroyer.
So, the answer to what ship you would want if you could have any ship and what would it look like is you want a mini Star Destroyer?
If I could have any ship in the game?
Yeah.
I mean, they gave me that. Like, a jack of all trades cargo with good weapons that looks nice is a thing in the game already. It's the Star Runner. That's the ship I wanted them to make for a very long time, and they finally made one. So more of those is my answer from
Shiver.
other manufacturers.
If you could put any ship skin on any of your ships or any ship, what would you do? And also, if you could put any ship in the game, what would it be and what would it look like?
Ship skin, black. I want perfect camouflage in space. I just want a completely black ship.
Except
So
those already
no one will
exist.
see me coming. I wouldn't be able to put it on my Polaris.
Oh, fair enough. You want a matte black skin on the Polaris. All right.
Yeah. What ship? If I could have any ship, it would be the Sovereign class from Star Trek.
Ooh. Yeah. I wonder if they'll do an homage to a Star Trek ship at any point. They gotta get that.
I don't know how they could get away with that though, because I mean, with the Defiant aside, which is fucking beautiful, and they've already had the guy who designed the Defiant actually come on and do some ships already.
Yep.
But
Several. Yep.
Star Trek design ships are very unique.
You could probably do something that is subtle enough. Oh my god. Just food delivery. 100%.
Yeah.
All right. My answer to this question, I'm thinking about this a bit, and I'm a little. You know what? I'm having trouble with it, so I'm gonna say I want to be able to put a SpaceX decal on the side of my Prospector, just for the hell of it. Secondly, what ship? And this is going to be the most cliche answer in the world, but what ship do I want in the game? I want Serenity from Firefly in the game. That's actually the same size. That's what I want.
If we're saying what fictional ship do we want in the game, my answer is either the Normandy SR2.
Oh, thing's amazing.
Or so Normandy SR2 for something smaller-ish. For capital size, I want the Imperial ships that can create gravity wells. Yeah, I forget what they're called.
Oh my god, that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
For other ships.
Yeah, but they're like capital class sized gravity wells.
Oh my
god. Yeah. That's what I want.
Tibetarius asks a great question.
Interdictors. Yeah.
What's your most anticipated game loop? What would you imagine it working like? And anything from expanding bounty hunting to building outposts. I'm going to go with Shiver because he's all in the dark.
I don't think anyone wants to see me eat bacon and eggs with chopsticks, trust me.
That's fair. What's your most anticipated game loop? What do you imagine it working like? And it can be anything.
That's really difficult because there are so many in there that I want. I mean, I want the exploration game loop because I want to go where no one has gone before. But then I'm also, thank you. I'm also a big fan of the combat, obviously, and the combat's one of the few things that's really quite well fleshed out. But there's no loop to the combat. There's no what is the point of combat apart from quick, easy gratification? So I'm going to go with the complete side answer of salvage. I want salvage. I want to. There you go. There's your end loop for combat. Blow someone up, salvage their ship, and then sell the parts back to them at a later date.
I love it. So what do you imagine it looking like in your head?
I hope, especially for salvage and things like that, that a derelict, that if I've blown up a particularly large ship or a space station, I will literally be going into first-person view, boarding onto the wreck of this ship, having to worry about how much oxygen I've got left on my personal tank or whatever like that, as I'm sat there like shipbreakers, I think it was called shipbreakers, taking parts out, taking the materials down, breaking them down, having someone come and scoot them into the back of his freelancer, that kind of thing. I want that to not be a quick hold down mouse button, done. Oh yay. I want to literally have a blowtorch, take chunks of this ship out, take the whole thing to pieces there and then, load it up, fuck off to a space station, and sell it back to the poor guy I blew it up from in the first place.
That was a great answer. Jake,
Sorry.
What are you saying here?
I have a weirdly specific answer for this. I want non-lethal combat everywhere. So not just like a stun weapon. Like I'm talking about like everything. The whole reason is the main reason why I own a Prowler is because I want to be able to steal ships that are larger than a Prowler, and take them. That's my whole purpose in Star Citizen, is I want to amass a ship collection by legal and not so legal means. So I want all of the mechanics involved with that gameplay loop. So that is like not only stun weapons, but the ability to disable a ship, the ability to break into that ship once you disable it, the ability to not only take the ship but spoof the ownership of it to yourself. Like I want all of those gameplay loops to be in place. There's a lot of moving parts for the things that I want to do in Star Citizen, and it's not something as basic as salvage. So
yeah, that piece is almost multiple gameplay loops, you know.
Yeah, it's multiple loops to create my loop is what I'm saying.
Exactly. For me here, I have a really hard time with this because there are several. But I think I'm gonna land on scanning / science and research, that type of thing. We already have scanning in the game, and it does give you some information. It's very, very basic right now. But I think that has and I'll harken way back to the original Kickstarter and how the direction of this game changed drastically just from what people wanted to do in the game. I remember this vividly, where they did a poll and they figured almost everybody wanted to do combat in Star Citizen, and then it was like 64 or 66% or something of people said they wanted to do exploration. The most out of anything. And I think that is, they've done a really good job over the years of going, we're gonna have the jump points that you can explore, and we'll have uncharted star systems, so you can go and discover everything about that star system. And then they put in the whole thing about how you actually can collect information, and information can be sold. That really enabled the whole exploration thing to actually have some kind of a meaning to it. And then we're down to you need to scan the surfaces of planets for the land claims, and it's all come a long way, at least in high level theory. So for me, I'm thinking, I'm actually going to distill this down a little bit. I think that I would like to see the scanning part of the game, where you can actually scan an area and discover sellable facts about it, resource allocation, location of caves, anything like that. I would like to see that in the game. Sorry, I kind of went in a rant there.
No, that's fine. Have either, since you guys both mentioned exploration, have either of you guys played the Outer Wilds yet?
I have, but I haven't played it anywhere near enough. I played it for like 4 or 5 hours.
Sure.
No, I get that one confused with the Outer World.
The Outer Worlds is space Fallout.
Yeah.
The Outer Wilds is maybe one of the most unique video game experiences I've ever played.
It's very chill,
it is
too,
my
nice.
answer to what do you want exploration to be in Star Citizen. It is that game.
It's good.
So that game, just in a contained bubble, is exactly what I imagined the exploration loop to be, and I didn't know it yet until I played the game. So please play that game. It is just one of the finest video game experiences I've ever played. It's also an absolute technical marvel, believe it or not. They've essentially have the full system cycle of a system of planets, and it just goes. The entire cycle of those planets just goes, no matter what you're doing in it. Mm-hmm. And you are uncovering this mystery piece by piece as you're exploring the system. And you're basically filling this like codex log full of stuff, and you're trying to put it all together. And it is one of the finest video games I've ever played. It has actually very similar controls to Star Citizen, so you'll be right at home. Yeah, check that one out. It's the timed exclusive has ended for Epic, so if you don't want to use Epic, it's on Steam now, and it's pretty cheap. Perfect. So highly recommend.
Yeah, that was it's very good. I only played it for like 4 or 5 hours, but absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And totally came out of nowhere. Like,
yeah.
Very big surprise.
Well, I remember when they announced it like years and years and years ago. I think they did a Kickstarter for it, if I remember right.
Okay.
But they went full heads down. It took them 8 years to make this game.
If anybody's curious how it fares on Steam, it is sitting at a 93 right now, which is not bad.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Wait, these are the same people who made. Oh, that's Annapurna. Never mind, not Mobius.
Yeah, it's they published it.
Yeah.
It's just like devastatingly beautiful. It also
won a BAFTA award.
Yep.
Which is interesting. But yeah, it was really great. It's also it really messes with your head while you're playing it, which is a lot of fun.
the concept of it is like, it's not a spoiler because they introduced this to you like immediately, and it's part of the whole thing about that game is it's a time loop. So you have about 22 minutes from when you wake up in the game to when the sun in the system goes supernova. Whenever you die or the sun goes supernova, it resets you back to the beginning, but you retain all of the knowledge that you've gained thus far.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This is a very good question, and I think it's an interesting one. Tipitarius asks, what do you think Star Citizen needs to make combat in its entirety great for
non-lethal combat?
For Squadron 42.
Non-lethal combat, but for Squadron, I don't know.
No?
Chunkiness. I like a good chunky combat. That's the only word I can use to describe it. The game, and this is not like a guns or ships or sci-fi game at all, but it's my example every time I talk about chunky combat. If you've ever played The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker,
nope.
Whenever you hit something, well, for one, it's the best Zelda game of all time. Go play that game. But it has so whenever Link swings his sword, the second it connects with an enemy, it's almost like the game skips a frame.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like it like drops a frame, so like it freeze frames you for just that fraction of a second.
So it's like you actually feel like the impact, kind of.
Yeah, and it has like a musical cue at the same time, so it's like da 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 da, like every time you hit them, and it just gives it like this very chunky feeling to it. So that's where I get the word chunky from. But yeah, like games should have that kind of combat. I would say like Titanfall's FPS combat is like that. I would say like most Respawn games are like that. Like stuff that gives you good player feedback. I would say the opposite of this is the original Halo, where like it doesn't give you much feedback that you're doing damage. Does that make sense?
Well, it kind of
It does and it doesn't.
When you broke shields, it was pretty obvious that you would.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But like on a brute, if you're just spraying them with the assault rifle, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
That you're actually doing anything.
Sponginess.
So, Shiver, what do you think that Star Citizen combat needs to make it great for Squadron 42?
Missiles, missile countermeasures.
Yeah.
The ability to have tactical combat in a fast-paced situation. Because right now it's very much a fuck, I'm being shot. Fuck. You need to be able to use that's the best description I've got. You need to be able to use your environment in a way that you can actually use your environment. Like, you know, there were early days of Arena Commander. Your ship completely ran out of everything, so you could take yourself into the asteroid belt and hope that at some point that they're just going to hit the asteroids as the stupid AI at the time, you know,
did a lot.
And it did. And it worked. But something like that, you need to be able to quickly, in a situation, because they want fast-paced combat, you need to be able to think to yourself in a situation, I've got no chance against these 20, not Drouthy, that's Wing Commander, against these Vandal sides. There we go. And so how can I tip the scales into my favor a bit? Well, I'll take the combat into this environment where I've got the advantage and their numbers don't matter, where I can funnel them into something. Things like that. Something to be able to tactically think on the fly as quickly as possible.
Yeah. My thought here is it's already getting pretty good as long as you are not playing in the persistent universe. The existing server problems are, a problem. But that's obviously not going to be an issue for Squadron. I think the biggest thing, and this is something that Jake touched on, I think player feedback is really important. Knowing when you're being hit, from where, knowing that you are hitting and where you've hit, knowing how much damage you have done. These things are, and that actually ties in with the scanning thing I talked about before. You should be able to, there should be mechanics where if your ship has a particularly good scanning suite, you should be able to learn more about how much damage you've done. These things, they're just deeper. They need to be deeper and more fleshed out. But they're starting to get there. They've come a long way over the last 8 years here.
Yeah. I think the ship weapons feel infinitely better than the FPS weapons currently.
Yes.
I think the ship weapons are in a pretty good spot right now.
I think FPS weapons are also getting better, but they're a little bit behind the ship weapons.
Yeah, agreed.
So we have 2 more questions, and then we're going to cut it off. We're going to do these as quick as we can, because it is the end of the show. So we have 2 from Tipitarius. One is, What's your opinion of Squadron 42 in general? For me, it's the main reason I give CIG money in the first place, which most expensive single-player game I've purchased by a long mile. I don't know what I'm going to do with all these multi-crew ships other than get Tess to crash them into things for me. Also, yes, I'm a testes, apparently. I'm not sorry. Okay.
Wow.
Let's go all the way back to the beginning of that question. What is your opinion of Squadron 42 in general, Shiver?
And kind of with Tipitarius on this. That was the primary thing for me. That was a big draw for me. The Star Citizen multiplayer is just icing on the cake. I fucking loved Wing Commander. I even purchased it on the Super Nintendo after playing it on the Amiga. So yeah.
Oh my god.
Squadron,
you're old,
give me
Shiver.
Squadron. Thanks. Just the fact that my first ever console had an outer layer made of plywood. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped for Squadron. I like big space RPG is literally my favorite form of media. Period. So, yeah, I can't wait for Squadron. I think Squadron will get everyone a whole lot more invested in the universe.
Yep. Absolutely. And we'll
So, yeah.
also learn a lot more about. I mean, we know to a degree what's going on in the universe. We'll know a hell of a lot more once we actually play that game.
Yeah.
Now, so I've told this story before, but I want to bring it back up because it is important to this point here. A lot of people ask, how did you first find out about Star Citizen? I'm not sure. It has changed a lot over the years, but at the time, back in 2012, there was a massive dearth of space games. There hadn't been a decent space game made in a long time. There were some okay ones. There were a couple, but not many. There were a few that were all right. I'm talking like 70 reviews, you know. And most of the ones that I had tried didn't resonate with me. So I went and literally looked for. I think I googled games like Freelancer, because that was the game I absolutely loved. I love that game to death. And that was how I found Star Citizen. Somebody had edited a Wikipedia article listing space games and thrown Star Citizen in there. Before the end of the Kickstarter. They had already put it in there. And that was how I found it. But as you can probably tell from my answer, the thing that I really wanted was Squadron 42. That's what I was after, was the huge single-player adventure thing, you know, in space. But I'm also, at this point, extremely excited for Star Citizen, but still, my number one thing is honestly, if we got an incredible game in Squadron 42, it would make this whole thing worth it. Even if Star Citizen never really amounted to what I hope it does, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, if we get Squadron out of this, money well spent for me.
So, the last question, also from Tipitarius, who is our MVP for this week for our questions.
It's not Ashley for once.
Yeah. What's your least anticipated game loop that you still want in the game to affect your gameplay orthogonally? That is a great word.
Orthogonally.
What the hell does orthogonally mean in this context? All right. Anyway, I'm guessing tangentially was also kind of what you're. Anyway, like the relationship between traders, pirates, and bounty hunters. You don't necessarily want to be a trader, but you need them to be a pirate. What is your least anticipated game loop that you still need in the game, Jake?
Bounty hunters.
Okay.
I don't care about bounty hunters. I won't be a bounty hunter.
But they need to exist.
They do. 100%. They need to.
Shiver.
I want to hire bounty hunters.
Yeah, fair enough. Shiver.
Trade running.
And again, because you want to be a pirate. Right?
No, I don't want to be a pirate. I want to be an explorer, nomadic bastard that can also shoot things. If it's a human, it's a human. If it's a bot, it's a bot. I don't care. I just want to shoot shit as I explore.
That's fair. That's fair. So you're a violent explorer.
Yeah, I'm not going to go out of my way to. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going to go out of my way to fuck a poor trader's day up.
Yeah.
But I just find trade running.
There's Vandal out there, man.
Yeah.
You know
What are you going to do when you run into the Borg? You shoot him. You try.
Oh, that's what you do, yeah. Assimilate me. Come on, come on.
I think I'm going to say for this one, something that I don't really want to do, but I think is important for the game and I want to exist, is data running.
Yeah. I actually want to data run, so.
So, like, because I'm going to be an explorer, I would like to prefer to be on the fringes of the, you know, galaxy that is in the game. Apparently Shiver's laughing at me now.
No, you said data running, and I'm thinking, how do you feel about its brother, law running?
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
Hey, and then at least it's not B4 running, am I right?
But there's going to be moments that one of the things they've talked about in this game is that if you are on the outskirts, you might be outside of the existing data network in the game. But if you want to sell something, you have to be able to communicate it back, right? So I think with that ability to have like containerized data in that can be sold, I want to be able to hire a data runner to come to me, get, you know, my scan of this star system and go sell it for me. You know, I think that would be a cool thing. Without having to take my frickin' boat of a carrack all the way back to the civilization.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun, that show today. I had a great time.
We did it.
Shiver, what's happening?
Oh shit, maths. That wasn't part of the deal. 1 hour, 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 hour, 40 minutes over on Table of Horrors. We go live with Star Trek Adventures.
Speaking of.
Yeah. Who have we got as the first officer there, Nehkara?
I have no idea.
It's you! It's you!
Yes, it's me. I am going to be first officer this week on Star Citizen.
Are you human?
Star Citizen, Star Trek. I am human.
He is.
I am human. I'm basically Riker. More or less.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
I can promise Klingons. I can promise mystery. I can promise a very old starship.
I can promise he'll have come up with some sort of puzzle for us, and it will take us 4 or 5 times as long as he had thought it would for us to solve it.
With this one, I actually spent 3 days sitting here writing this out, and I was like, no, fuck it. And I had a really good idea throughout 3 days of work. Rewrote 3 days of work in 3 hours. I was like, oh God, I hope this works. Just to avoid that.
Wow.
That's funny.
Wow.
Anything else you want to point out that's coming up?
We're doing a grounded stream on
Excellent.
Thursday, 23:30 UTC. So that's the same time.
What a great game.
It
Adventures.
is a great game.
I love it. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the survival game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think next week it's going to be Saturday, 23:30 UTC. We've got Vampire the Masquerade, which all sorts of. There's going to be a lot of drama, and there's going to be another big reveal, and things are going to happen that I'm excited for. And I've already started writing it the same day that we finished the fucking last show because it's
It's the big.
I have an addiction.
Yeah. I understand it well.
Jake, what do we got coming up?
Speaking of, So if you all aren't aware, here in the chat, we are on the third episode. The second full episode. We did an episode 0 with like character creation and stuff like that of Star Wars Edge of the Empire over on the Astropub's channel, which airs at 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. British Summer Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, every Saturday. So immediately before this show, I literally hopped off that show and came on this one. And it is just an absolute joy every week. And it is starting to get a little hairy for our our friends here. And then the sudden revelation this week, somebody might know the mysterious past of Mr. Clack Beatbox, who is Dolvak's character.
I have a special request actually related to that.
Okay.
Can you do a spin-off where it's just you GMing Dolvak's character? Because I fucking love him.
I mean, sure. Sure.
It's amazing. Seriously, just watch. If you don't watch it for any other reason, watch it for Dolvak and the way he plays that guy. That's amazing. I have never seen Rodian Druggy before, but it's great.
Yeah, so to give you an idea here in the chat, there's he's a Rodian scholar is his class. So he's an intellectual, and he has very high charisma and very, very high intellect. But I gave him a debuff where anytime he has to remember something, he has to flip a coin. If it lands on heads, he remembers it, or he gets to roll a knowledge check. If it lands on tails, nothing happens. So it's very good. Dolvak has taken to this character very well. Clack is a sweet, sweet boy who wants no violence to happen to anybody, and he's surrounded by literal murder machines. So there's that. Highly recommend if you're averse to Star Wars and like recent storylines, one, how dare you? But two, our story is more kind of in the seedy underworld of Star Wars. To think like a Han Solo's realm, Mandalorian type scenarios. In fact, they bumped into Mandalorians this week. So the episode 0 is going up on YouTube very soon on the Astropub's channel, but you can watch the VODs of the last 2 weeks on twitch.tv/theastropub. But if you want to catch us live, we'll be live next week at again, like I said, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. UK time.
All right. So,
and come back on Tuesday.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, but yes, the Tuesday at 7 p.m. my time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, is our general games show where we talk about all the games except for Star Citizen. And
somehow it still comes up.
Well, it came up once because I was playing it at the time.
Yeah.
But generally we don't talk about Star Citizen, and it's a lot of fun. We're having a blast doing it, and I hope you come join us. It is very variable in length, from just over an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah. It depends on if a game like The Last of Us comes out that week.
Yes.
Then we'll talk about it for an extended period. But yeah.
The other thing I wanted to touch on is something interesting has happened in the space realm. Between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week, we could see as many as 5 launches in 3 days. The first one is the always popular Delta IV Heavy is launching on Wednesday. And it is, of course, launching a spy satellite of some kind, which is what it generally does. That one will be right around, it'll be kind of in the middle of the night for Eastern time, folks. It's at 2 a.m. Eastern. Then at a much more respectable, 11 p.m. Eastern that same day, Electron will launch from Rocket Lab. The next day, there is a Falcon 9 launch, which is a really cool one, I have to say. So, they are launching on a southern polar trajectory from Cape Canaveral. This has not been done since the 1960s. The only reason they're allowing it now, the reason it wasn't done for many years, was you have to overfly Cuba. And the last time they did it, they dropped I think they dropped a stage on a cow or something. And
oh no!
And that was not seen as very nice.
Oh no!
They mooted a cow?
Yeah, exactly. They mooted a cow.
No.
However, because Falcon 9 has what's called an automated termination system, basically, that it will always destroy itself if it's in trouble, and it won't drop pieces of it on cows. They are allowing this corridor to be used again for the first time in like 55 years, probably, something like that. So Falcon 9 will launch south out of Cape Canaveral. Nobody has seen this since the 1960s. And it actually has to do a dogleg maneuver, so it actually has to turn as it goes south. So it's going more directly south. This is so they don't overfly Florida, because that would be really bad. But most interestingly, or not most interestingly, but also interestingly, that Falcon 9 will actually then turn around once it's released the second stage, and then fly back along that course and land back at Cape Canaveral. So it's going to be something crazy to see. So that'll be fun. And also, if you're not sick of Starship news, there's another Starship hop coming up this week. So less than 4 weeks after the previous one. And this is a different vehicle. And so watch out for that. I'll have news about all this stuff in the Space Race channel. Anyway, it's very good, very busy week in space. And that's our show. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah.
Click the buttons that are good if you want to.
Click the heart, click the bell, and click the Discord button.
Exactly.
And join us in all the places. Yeah, we'll be back next week. Starting right now is the captain's table over on the Astro Pub. The guest this week is Moist Noodle and the Dark Law. So go check out the boys over there. Astro Pub.
And I am going to be on Soul Citizens tomorrow. So come and join us.
Twitch.tv/Soul Citizens. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Come back on Tuesday. Goodbye.